friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beandio 507. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters. The man that we're about to go to today, y'all, I always say that whenever we get to check out a video from his channel, it almost feels like a holiday, man, like a freaking special occasion. Because he don't put out videos as often as Mr. Ballin or Mike from that chapter or the Coffee Man Adrian from Coffee House Crimes. But whenever he do put out a video, we already know that it's gonna be excelente. And the man that I'm talking about is Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Back to Tragedy Tales, y'all. And the title of the video is Fatal First Date. 5 clips before horror number 12. Now these clips before horror, man, they always just have you like realizing how precious life really is. You know what I'm saying? And how it can just be gone in a freaking instant, man. I already know it's finna get crazy, y'all. Y'all already know it too. But we're about to get into it. But before we get into it, my brothers and sisters, y'all also know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We back to Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
You guys all know how these videos begin. Every single decision that you make, whether that be big or small, each one carries consequences, some anticipated, while others, not so much. We can only hope that these unexpected consequences don't prove fatal. Sadly, however, things can quickly turn tragic. It all begins with a simple tap of a button. Perhaps you're recording a moment with a friend, or perhaps it's a police officer turning on his body cam. It's just one wrong move, one single mistake, and it's all over.
Yep.
But hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. Of course, I'm Ryan from Tragedy Tales, and because you guys can't seem to get enough of this series, this week you're going to be witness to 5 more clips recorded right before horror. From a tandem skydive turned into true terror to a horrifying motorcycle mishap in Russia. This week we've got clips from all across the world that will leave you reeling. So you know the drill. Grab a drink and draw the curtains. Let's get right into it.
Get whatever you may need. And at the beginning, y'all, Ryan was showing some of his older clips before horror clips, so to speak. You know what I'm saying, man? And he just reminded me of the freaking snake, the one with the freaking crocodile, the freaking train that was going around the curve and crashed. Like, man, life can just change that freaking quick. Let's check these out this week. Let's go. Number 5.
Imagine a night that was supposed to be the start of something new between 2 young people. A first date. There's butterflies in your tummies. Both of you are unsure if this person's gonna be the one or gonna be just another first date. It's supposed to be all lovey-dovey. You never expect that on your first date that you'd experience horror, despair, and ultimately tragedy. But unfortunately, in this case, This is precisely what happened. 24-year-old Luis Fernando Cavalos and 27-year-old Alexis Rodriguez met online and decided to finally meet in person for a first date. It was a clear, balmy summer night in North Bergen, New Jersey, on the 21st of August 2021. That night, the air was filled with possibilities of new beginnings and, of course, the potential for love. After having what I assume must have been a nice date, it was time for Luis to drive Alexis home. As the pair drove through the streets of Bergen in Luis's brand new 2022 Kia Stinger, their night of joy would soon take a truly horrible turn. Now, Luis had just literally bought this new Kia Stinger and, of course, wanted to show off on their first date. So,
oh Lord, man, this man probably finna get into a crash, y'all. Oh my God.
He was ragging the car through the streets, redlining it, speeding as fast as he possibly could, the noise of his exhaust filling the night with deep burbles. At approximately 1:49 AM, Officer John Nunez was sitting in a lay-by when he saw Luis and Alexis in the Kia drive past. Of course, Officer Nunez put on his lights and pulled them over for reckless driving. It turns out that Luis had been speeding at over 100 miles an hour, he had ignored a red traffic light, and was violating a provisional license restriction. After checking their details, despite Alexis's protests that she was the one to blame because she caused the hurry, Officer Nunez reassured her and made very, very clear that Luis was responsible for his actions and that he would face the consequences for them.
I just gotta point out real quick, y'all, this is kind of weird to me. Like, this is a first date. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm trying to say real quick, y'all, is if you trying to impress me by speeding 100 miles per hour in this freaking car, you are turning me to freak off to the point where I'm gonna goddamn delete your number out my phone, probably block you, and never want to hear from you again. Like, I don't see how this is a way to impress somebody to, you know, potentially go on more dates and potentially start a relationship with me. You not impressing me by doing this. You scaring the fuck out of me, man. Slow this goddamn car down. But why the reason I say it's weird is because she actually trying to take up for him. You know what I'm saying? And trying to make excuses for why he was doing this. Hell, for all we know, she probably was telling him to speed. I don't know. That's a crazy first date, man.
Cigar 2, I'm at the corner.
You can shut the car off and give me your license, registration, and insurance, please. Just gotta let you know everything's being audio, video recorded, right? Yeah. Reason for this. The thing is, the car is new, so I don't really have the registration. You have the temporary one that they give you with the template. Yeah. And so that's your registration, right? Yeah. The reason for the yours.
That kid was speeding so bad, he almost hit another kid in a bike.
I know. That's why I stopped him.
Another one? You almost hit me too.
Ma'am, that's why I stopped him. Have a nice night, okay? Yeah, that's why I'm stopping you for reckless driving, careless driving, speeding, and the lights you ran, okay? You were doing at least 100 on Kennedy Boulevard. All right, man? You almost struck my car because I was making a right turn. All right? All right, man. Here's your documents.
Thank you. I'm sorry, we're on our first date, me and him.
That's fine, but
Sorry.
almost killing each other is not the way to start on a first date.
Apartment because it just got really carried away.
I know.
It's my fault. It's really my fault. I swear.
It's not your fault because if he gets into an accident, it's his fault.
No. It's my fault.
Listen, you're getting 3 tickets. I could have gave you a lot more, okay? You're not even supposed to be driving at this time because you have a provisional license.
Oh my God.
So you're getting reckless. I didn't give you speeding. I'm giving you that break, all right? You got reckless, the traffic light that you ran, and for driving after hours. All right, man?
Thank you.
Get home safe.
Something bad about to happen, and I don't know what it is, y'all.
It's a 19. Are you sure?
Though he could have pressed for harder charges, at approximately 2 AM, Officer Nunez decided to show some leniency and give Luis a break. He only cited him for 3 out of the 4 violations and instructed them to go straight home, rather to the police station. Officer Nunez reminded them to drive careful to avoid a fatal accident. Sadly, despite the leniency and stark warning from Officer Nunez, Lewis chose to ignore these instructions, instead continuing to drive recklessly through the night with Alexis in the passenger seat. At 2:13 a.m, Officer Nunez responded to a radio alert telling him that there had been a terrible road traffic accident very close to his vicinity. Of course, Nunez rushed to the scene and arrived at a catastrophic accident on Route 129 and 36th Street. All captured by his body-worn camera, Nunez can be seen running to what was left of the car. This is the horrifying moment that Nunez realizes that this is the Kia that he'd seen just 13 minutes ago. It was now in such a sorry state, it was barely recognizable.
Yo, this is the same kid. Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Oh my.
6-1. Paramedics are needed.
We're gonna need a crash team, sir. Crash team, we need a crash team. That's the same car I just had. Fatal. We're gonna need a crash team.
6-1.
We need a crash team.
Dad.
Yo, guys, you gotta step back. Guys, gotta step back. Guys, gotta come back. Sorry, guys.
Oh my God, man. I was right from the beginning, y'all, when I first said, man, this man probably finna get into a crash. But then after the damn police pulled him over, gave him tickets, I thought that was it. You know what I'm saying? As far as him speeding and getting into a crash, come to find out after the police let him go, literally 13 minutes later, he get into a crash, man. Still doing the same goddamn thing that he got pulled over for the first time. Oh my, man, did y'all see that freaking car? And we just seen those two people in that car. I don't know if both of them have passed away yet, but Jesus Christ, just looking at that car, you'll think nobody survived, especially if you know they was in the freaking front seats. They hit whatever, that wall, whatever it is, they hit that shit head on, man. Woo!
Lewis crashed horrifically into a tractor trailer that was making a delivery. The impact was devastating. The Kia had collided at an incredibly high speed with the rear of the tractor trailer, causing the vehicle to go underneath and shear the roof completely off.
It's worse than I thought!
The car then skidded out of control and slammed into an overpass wall. When Officer Nunez looked at the occupants, it was obvious that they had both suffered fatal injuries. They'd been cut in half. Both Lewis and Alexis were pronounced dead at the scene, their lives tragically cut short by Lewis's poor decision to continue driving at reckless speeds in a vain attempt to show off. The following day, investigators examined the car's event data recorder, which revealed that seconds before the crash, Lewis had been travelling at 124 miles an hour, or approximately 200 kilometers an hour. At the time of the impact, the speed was still a lethal 68 miles an hour, despite slamming on his brakes. The crash, investigators concluded, could have been completely avoided if Lewis had simply adhered to the speed limit and, of course, followed Officer Nunez's parting advice. Now, I can only imagine the anger in Alexis's family. Their beautiful daughter had been killed by some random bloke she met on the internet. If I was speeding in my car and I got pulled over, the very last thing that I would do is have my passenger try to claim that it was their fault. In my opinion, if your hands are on that wheel and your feet are on them pedals, you are responsible for the lives of your passengers. You are responsible for getting them home safe to their families. And in this case, Lewis failed on every level. We all make mistakes, of course, we're human, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to pay the price for them. And in this case, there was a hefty price to pay. It not only cost Lewis his life at the young age of 24, but also caused Alexis to lose her life at 27, by no fault of her own. This story serves as a truly brutal reminder of the potential consequences of reckless driving and the importance of adhering to the law. These speed limits are in place for a reason. They're not put there for no reason. If you want to drive recklessly, take your car on a track. Officer Nunez, who had initially given Lewis a chance to correct his course, was of course left haunted by the incident. This is a prime example of how a moment's decision can lead to irreversible outcomes. So next time you're on a first date and you've got a new car and you want to rag it, you want to show off, just don't. Stick to the speed limits, because speeding really isn't that cool, and it's certainly not worth losing your life over.
Man, that first one just got me numb. Like, seriously, man, just the fact that seeing them in that freaking car minutes before they body literally got, the way they died was just, they literally got chopped in half, man. If you just realize, because at first I thought they just ran into the wall, but then Ryan told us before they even ran into the wall, they literally went up under a freaking 18-wheeler trailer, tractor trailer truck, the trailer part of the truck. You know what I'm saying, man? And you look at the car and it's just like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know, y'all, because what Ryan was telling us is that it's all the dude fault, which I do agree with, because he is the one behind the wheel. He is, at the end of the day, he is the one behind the wheel. But I just also find it so freaking eerie and weird that she never was scared. You know what I'm saying? She was trying to take up for him while they was talking to the police officer. And speaking of the police officer, Officer Nunez, I know that's something that's just gonna always bother him. He always gonna have in the back of his mind, like, what if I would have took him to jail that night or stopped them from driving or something? You know what I'm saying, man? Oh, man. 5 clips before horror, y'all. This is like I told y'all, man, when we watch Ryan, it always just feel like a freaking special occasion. We got 4 more to go, so let's go. Number 4.
They say that the best way to conquer your fear is to expose yourself to it. While some fears are irrational, like the fear of spiders, for example, or perhaps hypochondria, where one is scared of illness, the fear of heights is very rational. It's actually one of the few natural fears that most of us inhibit, as we're all born with the fear of falling and loud sounds. But this terrible entry begins on a cool July morning in Sydney. On the 15th of July, 2017, that day, the bustling city was alive with activity, ready for whatever the day had in store. Among the people in Sydney that day was 29-year-old Mario Lo Ki Wei, a Singaporean student eager to dive into new experiences since his recent move to Sydney in early June. While Mario was passionate about adventure, he had a terrible fear of heights, one that in hindsight, he was totally right to fear. Now, Mario had lived a relatively quiet life in Singapore, focusing on his studies and occasionally indulging in small adventures. Moving to Sydney was a chance for him to break out of his shell and to face new challenges head on. So, to try and conquer his fear of heights, on the 15th of July, Mario decided to challenge himself by doing a skydive for the very first time. Thinking that this would surely fix his phobia of heights, without much thought, Mario booked his first ever skydive at Sydney Skydivers, a well-known and fairly reputable organisation, located in Wilton, approximately 80 kilometres southwest of Sydney. Early on the 15th, Mario and a handful of other people arrived at Sydney Skydivers. Upon arriving at the centre, because of his inexperience, Mario was of course booked to do a tandem jump. A tandem jump is something that you have to do if you've never jumped before. The student skydiver is essentially harnessed to the instructor, and the instructor would then guide them through the various phases of the jump, including the free fall, and most importantly, pulling on the parachute. Throughout the dive, the instructor bears the full responsibility and ensuring that the parachute is released in a timely manner. So, that day, when Mario arrived at the centre, he was paired with veteran Adrian Lloyd, a 60-year-old expert skydiver with over 30 years of experience and over 10,000 jumps under his belt. So I'm almost certain that Mario would have had great confidence, believing that this was all going to be fine, believing that he was in safe hands.
This story so far is reminding me of a Mr. Ballin story, y'all. And I know it's not the same one, but if y'all know what I'm talking about, let me try to refresh your mind. Let me give you the long story short, short story long version of what the story of Mr. Ballin told. It was basically an instructor that and it was a lady. It was a new lady. She was the newbie, and you know they did the tandem jump and stuff. But the parachute ain't go off. So what the instructor ended up doing, long story short, short story long, he saved that lady life by twisting his body where he hit the ground before her. You know what I'm saying? He took the brunt of the impact, and she ended up surviving. But I think she still ended up paralyzed or something. But she did survive, y'all. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That was a Mr. Ballin story a long time ago. But this parachuting stuff, I'm just gonna tell you right now, man, it's just not my cup of tea. But shout out to everybody who love it. But just looking at the images of people falling like that through the goddamn air, nah, I'm good. If that's tea, I'd rather drink coffee. I'm just saying, let's go.
However, while suiting up and while they were doing the safety briefing, this footage was captured, and it shows the guide making some pretty dark jokes about landing off course and dying. This probably would have been the first red flag for me.
Morir. Harness and then stress if you're lucky. You might get a good one, you might not. Yeah. Then they'll take you down the plane, which is there. No, it's gone. They'll take you down the plane, which is normally down there. They take you upstairs, mate, just... Yeah. If you're really, really, really lucky, you'll land out the front. If you don't, it happens. We don't talk about that stuff. Anyway, let's go this way.
And him joking about it remind me of another. I can't remember who channel this was on, but about a young he was like a teenager and he wanted to do skydiving for the first time. And before he went up in the air on the plane to skydive, he made some kind of crazy joke and then he died. Like, man, this stuff, man, certain stuff you just can't joke about, man. I'm sorry, man. Certain stuff you just I'm not joking about no ish like this. To each their own, though. Let's go.
Regardless of the jokes, I'm sure the centre takes safety very seriously. So, after suiting up, the group prepared to enter the sky. The centre was abuzz with energy. All the skydivers eagerly took selfies, including Colombian student Catalina Granados. She captured the moment before they jumped off. It looked like they were about to have the time of their lives. All captured on video. The flight conditions were perfect as Mario and Adrian, along with the other jumpers, climbed to 13,800 feet, or around 4,200 meters, into the sky. In footage captured by another jumper that day, Mario can be seen sat next in line to jump from the aircraft, ready for whatever was to come. Soon after this pair leapt from the plane, Mario and Adrian did too. I bet it was going amazingly at first. Sadly, shortly after leaving the plane, something truly unimaginable happened. As the ground got closer and closer, veteran skydiver of 30 years, Adrian, pulled on the cord to release the chute, and it refused to open. The pair's parachute never deployed, causing Mario and Adrian to plummet through the sky, crash landing in the driveway of a home in Wilton, 90 kilometers south of the drop zone. Sadly, both of them suffered catastrophic injuries upon impact, killing them both instantly.
Two perfect rows of pine trees lining a quiet dirt country driveway. It seems the most unlikely scene of a tragedy. But hidden in the shadows, a horror end to a stunning Saturday skydiving adventure. Two men killed instantly. Residents arriving home to find the pair, one in his 60s, the other in his 20s, motionless on the gravel driveway of a private property, almost a kilometre from the open paddocks where they should have landed.
This was Mario's first and only skydive, and tragically, it will now be his last. Their deaths were a total shock to the staff at Sydney Skydivers, as well as the local community. The incident quickly reached local and international headlines. However, despite it reaching headlines, The other skydivers were left in the dark until much later.
Wow.
Catalina, who I mentioned previously, who was another skydiver who was there that day, actually shared a bus with Mario on the way to the dive site. She was left completely unaware of the tragic events until hopping back on the bus to Sydney. Here she realised that Mario was not on the return bus, and then the realisation hit her. Sydney skydivers acknowledged the tragedy on their now deleted Facebook page, emphasising the rarity of such incidents. They stated that skydiving has its risks, and sometimes accidents do happen. They said that this was the first fatality involving a first orientation tandem skydive that the companies had in over 40 years of operation, claiming that it was a very, very rare incident. Now, despite the Skydive Centre saying that this was an extremely rare incident and that it was the first fatality involving a first tandem skydive in over 40 years, further investigations into the incident revealed a slightly more troubling history for Sydney skydivers. Previously, in 2001, 2 skydivers died when their parachutes failed to deploy, very similar to what happened in this case. And in 2012, 2 more fatalities occurred, one with a parachute and another from a mid-air collision. Thus, the deaths of Mario and Adrian marked the 5th and 6th fatalities under the company's watch. The cause of Mario and Adrian's deaths, as far as I can see, remains under investigation by Australian police, with details still not being made public. But it's assumed that the chute failed, and yeah, they pulled it, it didn't go off.
And that's the dangers about skydiving, man. Like, it's always gonna be a point in time, because nothing is 100% certain on this earth. You know what I'm saying? Somebody is gonna always come a point in time. You keep on having these skydive lessons, keep on doing this skydiving stuff. Eventually, somebody, 1 out of 1,000,000 chance, 100 chance, I don't know the ratio, but it's always gonna be that one time that somebody gonna be pulling on their freaking parachute and it's just not gonna open. You know what I'm saying, man? And somebody gonna die. Like, that's why I'll never ever freaking do some stuff like that, y'all. Like I said, shout out to everybody who enjoy doing stuff like that, but that is not my cup of tea. And rest in peace to both of them too, man. But it's like, it's always gonna be that one time where that goddamn chute ain't gonna open, and you never know when it's gonna happen.
In an emotional interview with the news, Mario's father expressed his grief, noting that he was completely unaware of his son's skydiving plans, adding poignantly, "Otherwise, I would have stopped him." Of course, honestly, this is nobody's fault. Deaths do occur while skydiving, but this case is just one of those that shows you that nothing is 100% safe in life. You can
That's exactly what I was just saying.
sign all the forms, you can do all the research, and things can still kill you. It's just sad that Mario died doing his first ever skydive without even telling his family where he was going.
Crazy.
And now he'll never get the chance to. The Sydney Skydive Centre in New South Wales continues to take skydives to this very day, creating memories of amazing moments, and hopefully, because there's been no deaths since this incident, they've improved their vital equipment checking.
Like I said, man, rest in peace to both of them. And it is crazy that he went skydiving without even telling his parents. So when they get the news of him, he has passed away, and they find out how by skydiving. Skydiving, we don't even know. Like, why was he skydiving? You know what I'm saying, man? And Ryan said what I was saying before he even said it, man, is that nothing is 100% sure in life, man, especially not when you put your life. And I feel like everybody who do this, you do know that you putting your life in danger by skydiving. I mean, you know what I'm saying, man? I guess that's kind of the thrill of it too. But like I said, man, that is not my type of thrill. I can't do it. I can't do it. Let's go to number 3. This has been good so far, Ryan. Good so freaking far. Number 3.
On the 12th of November 2022, the Limanchik hiking area in Abradisu, located in southern Russia, was bustling with its usual energy of visitors and avid motorcyclists seeking the thrill of adventure. But for a quick bit of background, The Limanchik hiking area is essentially a small coastal hiking zone that spans along the ridge of the Black Sea. The area is known for its rugged cliffs and stunning, breathtaking views. Some of the routes that it harbours are meant for walkers, but the majority of the routes take you decently high above sea level and are actually meant for dirt biking. These factors attract many who relish beautiful scenery and, of course, extreme sports. Because of how tight the routes actually are, not to mention the massive drop to the beach and sea below, its motorcycle trails challenge even the most skilled riders. One of these riders that was attracted to the smell of adventure was Mikhail Blumenfield. Now, Mikhail was a 38-year-old married father of two from the Krasnodar territory in Russia. He was perfectly suited for this adrenaline-charged, extremely risky setting, having been a seasoned motorcyclist since the early age of 14. Mikhail was celebrated in sporting circles for his expertise. He constantly challenged himself with difficult and extreme climbs. So, on that day, for Mikhail, it was due to be like any other. He planned for a day full of adrenaline-filled moments before returning home for dinner to his wife and kids, all in a day's work. With his friend following out in front, Mikhail got out on the trails and was fully immersed in his element, pushing his limits along the cliff's edge, teetering on the edge of calamity. Like all of my videos, it's all fun and games until it's not. All captured on video, the truly unthinkable occurred. Mikhail can be seen navigating a narrow clifftop track, and suddenly he pauses, appearing cautious, but then proceeds. But as he does, he loses his balance, and in a heart-stopping moment, Mikhail fell from his motorcycle and plunged 330 feet down a cliff to his death. Mikhail died on impact. News of his death sent shockwaves through the sporting community. His death was a brutal reminder of how dangerous this sport can be. These guys do it on the daily, and they kind of forget that this could happen to any one of them. It's just a stark reminder to appreciate every day, because as I said in my intro, it's just one slip, just one little mistake, and it's all over.
I mean, it just happened so randomly, man. Just like Ryan just said, man, one little slip and it's just over. He just lost his life, man. It's one thing if he was riding on the bike and then some kind of way he ended up turning and flew off the cliff or, you know, some type of accident like that. But he wasn't really even driving the bike at the time. He kind of like got up off the bike, and when he got off the bike, he lost his footing and fell off the freaking edge, man. Jesus Christ. Like that, my brothers and sisters, man. That's why I said, man, life is freaking precious as hell, man. It seriously is.
His now widowed wife, Julia, and their children were left grappling with the sudden loss. His wife expressed her pure devastation and confusion over the accident, stating that he was very fond of extreme sports and he had so much experience. He knew how to ride well. I have no idea how it happened. It just goes to show that there's such a fine line between seeking thrills and maintaining safety. Mikhail knew these dangers, but pursued his passion with vigor. And while there is some comfort in knowing that he passed away doing what he loved, he left behind his beloved wife and his children.
And like Ryan said too, y'all, that what happened to him can freaking happen to literally anybody, like for real, man. Anybody could just slip off a fucking cliff if you're close enough, or if you're on top of a building and you close to the edge. It's a possibility, you know what I'm saying, for anybody, man. Rest in peace to him. That was just terrible how that happened. Let's go to number 2. Number 2.
In the beautiful Maykop district of Adygia, nestled in the southern reaches of Russia, the morning of October the 30th, 2022, promised an adventure in the skies. That day, a random man approached a group of tourists that were lingering in the Maykop region. The man approached the group and said that he was offering motorized hang glider journeys over the nearby mountains. In the group that day was 43-year-old thrill seeker Anna Kozyrieva. She jumped at the chance of a flight, quickly booking a tandem adventure later on in the day with the random man. If you're not familiar with hang gliders, don't worry, neither was I, but they're basically a lightweight, non-motorized aircraft with a large, flexible wing that the pilot can control by shifting their body weight. Now, add a motor and a tricycle-style landing gear beneath that wing, and you've got yourself a powered hang glider, also known as a microlight or ultralight trike.
No, I'm good on this too. Like I told y'all, skydiving ain't my cup of tea. This goddamn hang gliding shit ain't my cup of tea either. And they basically done turned hang gliding into a makeshift damn airplane or helicopter, man. Oh, hell no, y'all. I can't do none of this stuff. I would never do none of this craziness like this. But to each their own, like I say, man, to each their freaking own.
The journey that she booked would take her on a breathtaking flight over Adagia's rugged landscapes, a perfect blend of thrill, risk, and natural beauty. On the morning of October the 30th, Anna met with her instructor. She met with a chap who seemed nice enough, and he promised a safe flight across the skies. After paying the fee, Anna received all the safety spiel from the man. They had their routine gear checks, and then signed a heap of liability forms. Before she knew it, Anna was being driven up the side of a mountain to gain elevation. They parked, suited up, and just like that, the pair were strapped in and ready to go. Anna, fully believing that she was in safe hands, leapt into the sky with the guide, and it was amazing. Of course, there isn't much info on what happened after they launched, but what we do know is that halfway through, the dream flight that Anna had looked forward to so much instantly turned into hell. The glider's wing suddenly snapped mid-flight, meaning there was nothing keeping them in the air. As smoke began billowing out, the pair began plummeting towards the ground. Videos captured from the crowd below, who had been recording the pair's flight, showed a truly horrifying scene. The crowd watched in horror as the glider spiraled straight down through the air and crashed into a dense gorge.
Oh my God, man.
Ой, все, и вот тебе упал, вот и все. Мама родная.
Then you looking at it, you feel so freaking helpless, man, because there's nothing you can do in that moment to save them. Oh my Lord.
The aftermath was grim. On impact, it burst into flames. Emergency services rushed to the scene, but it was too late. Anna, along with her instructor, were pronounced dead in the wreckage. Investigation soon revealed a shocking detail. The instructor who had taken money to take Anna through the air was just some cowboy posing as a professional. He should have never offered any paid flights. He had no proper license or any authorization to do what he was doing that day. This tragic incident is now under criminal investigation by the Russian Investigative Committee. However, this entry does highlight a brutally harsh reality. The thrill of such flights comes with significant risks, even if you've got a fully licensed and qualified guide, let alone an absolute cowboy. So next time you're on holiday or even in your hometown and you want to do something crazy like what Anna did, always check the credentials, always check the licenses, ensure they're all kosher to avoid falling prey to unqualified cowboys who are all too eager to gamble with lives for a quick profit.
It's one thing to goddamn put your own life in danger for some money, but when you putting other people's life in danger to make a quick couple of bucks, man, it's like, bro, man, this man ain't even have no experience. And like Ryan said too, even if you do have experience, just this whole thing is just freaking dangerous. And like I said, I understand that people like to do stuff like this because of the thrill of it. You know what I'm saying? The thrill that they get out of it, the adrenaline get the pumping in them. But dude, add that on to like Ryan said, a freaking cowboy doing this with no experience, they was just doomed from the freaking beginning. Like, dude, you care more about money than other people's lives and your life. You trying to make some money, but whatever, you not gonna be here to even enjoy the freaking money. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, man. Rest in peace, though, to them. I'm kind of pissed at the dude, but rest in peace to him still. And most definitely rest in peace to Anna. Let's go to the last one, y'all. One more to go. Number 1.
Crowds are lethal. If you've watched any amount of my videos, you'll know this. If nobody's managing a mass of people, deaths can easily occur, and do. Just take my previous upload of Events Gone Wrong. 1.4 million people were allowed to overflow into a parade in Germany that only had space for 250,000, leading to the deaths of 21 individuals. While this entry has nothing on the scale of the Love Parade, it's certainly a prime example of poor management and lack of foresight. This horrifying tragedy unfolded on the 2nd of March 2021 at the University of El Alto, the second largest city in Bolivia. The El Alto University is situated on the western part of Bolivia, nestled near the Andes Mountains. Established in 2000, it currently has 33,000 students attending, teaching 37 varied careers. Now that day of the 2nd of March 2021 was like any other for the 20 to 25-year-old students attending the El Alto University. However, there was one important thing on: a protest created by students of the university in order to protest the economic, financial, and administrative science branch of the school. This protest was to be held in an assembly room on the 4th floor of the economics building. It's only a few students after all. What could possibly go wrong? Well, at approximately 8 AM, a bit more than a few students turned up. A crowd of approximately 500 students attended. They soon began sweeping their way across the university. The crowd soon converged on the stairwells as they continued climbing towards the assembly room. Within minutes, the entire building was swamped with protesters. Videos captured on the day show the crowd rallying, cheering, while others are seen pushing one another. The video clearly shows that the rally had reached ridiculous levels as they pushed their way along the 4th floor.
It's already a dangerous situation, man. It's a possibility that one of those people right there could fall off, could flip over that guardrail or whatever, on down to the next level. You know what I'm saying, man? Just from all that pushing all these freaking people in here, y'all. It seemed like a lot of more people attended this protest than they originally thought, man. And this is beyond a freaking fire hazard.
Students began surging forward, pushing and overflowing like a pack of sardines, with just a small metal railing between them and a certainly fatal fall of 40 feet, or around 12 meters.
I didn't know it was that damn far, 40 fucking feet. I thought it was more, maybe like 10. Shit.
Just imagine being stuck in this position, jammed between a crowd of people, the pressures building and building, until suddenly you can no longer breathe and now you have to get out. Of course, this caused a lot of people to panic and seek space, and before long, tragedy struck, as it always does. The crowd reached a level where something had to give, and the thing that gave in this case was the metal railing. As the
God damn, my brothers and sisters, I ain't know I was calling it. I was calling it.
Crowd jostled for position, chaos ensued. All captured on video. The railing, which to be fair looked pretty well secured, suddenly snapped off. Within just a second, a simple protest turned into complete terror.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Screams filled the air as multiple students tumbled forward over the precipice, falling 4 floors to the ground below. A couple of other students were extremely lucky as they only fell to the floor below. Those closest to the edge scrambled to get to safety, but the crowd remained. Multiple students dangled over the harrowing drop, holding on for dear life to hands, feet, or whatever they could grab. Sadly, however, many were not so lucky. Ambulances and police rushed to the scene, but nothing could be done for those who fell all the way down. Those who fell sustained major injuries, and 7 were pronounced dead at the scene. 5 others sustained life-changing injuries and were rushed to the nearest hospital. This was all just horrific. Honestly, I couldn't see this going wrong. It's tragic that they were all 20 to 24. They had their whole lives ahead of them, and it was tragically cut short due to crowds and a railing. This protest was only organised to ensure their voices be heard, ironically doing the opposite. A truly tragic loss. In the aftermath, Governor Felix Patsy declared 3 days of mourning. Then attention turned to who was responsible. Soon after this incident, the police arrested 7 student leaders who had organised the rally, each of them charged with 7 counts of culpable homicide and injury charges committed against 11 other students. These 7 individuals have yet to be sentenced. So, next time you think about attending a rally, consider if it's safe, consider if it's even worth attending, and consider if it's worth losing your life over. I can guarantee it's not.
Man, my brothers and sisters, Beam Team, when we seen those people falling over that railing, that is something that probably gonna sit in my brain for a very freaking long time. That image of them falling. That's something straight out of a fucking horror movie, man, and it's real freaking life. And it's just, this why I said I called it without calling it, because I was talking about, man, hold on, man, these people could possibly get pushed over this railing and fall. And come to find out they fell anyway because the railing was too freaking weak to freaking sustain all this force and power. These people was packed in here like sardines, and there was a lot of fucking force on that damn railing, and it went to hell. And I ain't even trying to be funny, man. I'm just serious, man. For real, y'all. Oh my God, man. That right there effed me up. Like, God, I don't even want to put no details into what we just saw. But what we just saw was wild, dude. Let's finish the video up. Let's finish it up, my brothers and sisters.
But that is the end of the video. May Alexis and Lewis rest in peace, along with the other folks featured on this video. Yet again, this was an absolutely crazy one. I've really wanted to cover that last story for a while, but I've not managed to fit it in until now. Mario, who lost his life on his first ever skydive, reminded me a lot of Tyler, who I already featured on this channel. Both were going out of their way to do their first ever skydive, and unfortunately, their first was also their last.
Okay, so that's the one I was telling y'all about. It reminded me of another one. It was from freaking Tragedy Tales with Tyler.
Mario didn't even contact his family to say what he was doing or even say goodbye, even jokingly. The balcony giving way in Bolivia. One word, horrifying. I wish the university did something before they even got to the 4th floor. But hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go and blame the build quality of the balcony, because I was genuinely quite surprised that it held with that many people and that much pressure. It just seems like another case of humans crowding into spaces that they just shouldn't have, and not realizing until it's far too late. A classic tragedy tale.
Yeah.
Mikhail, who tumbled to his death, at least he can say that he went out doing what he loved most, but doesn't make it any less tragic. Anna, who inadvertently hired a cowboy absolutely ridiculous. Always double check when you're booking anything on holiday. Are they licensed? Is it all legit? Because sometimes if it's too good to be true, it is. And last, but of course not least, the first date that turned fatal. Lewis is directly responsible for their deaths. He chose to continue driving that night at reckless and senseless speeds, not caring about the safety of his date, or in fact anyone else on the road. It's actually quite lucky that he didn't kill anyone else while crashing, to be honest.
True.
Regardless of who's to blame, it's an awfully tragic situation that caused untold pain and loss to two families who lost their son and daughter far too soon. Not to mention, Officer Nunez having to play part and parcel of that night is awful. There's actually reports of him having to do therapy due to what he saw, but I couldn't find much proof of this. Needless to say, what he witnessed that night will surely keep him up forever. But most importantly, what did you guys think? As you know, I do try and read every single comment. I'm interested as to what you thought. Of course, if you've made it this far into the video and you're not subscribed, go down there and tap that subscribe button now, and you may as well enable the notification bell down there as well to be alerted at when I upload content such as this. I apologise this video is a bit later than usual as I've been on holiday, but I'll work to get back to a schedule as soon as possible, so I appreciate your patience on that. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
My brothers and sisters, man, these one is like I said, y'all, it's always a freaking feel like a holiday, and Ryan was just talking about a holiday. It's always like a special occasion when we come over here, because these freaking 5 clips period before horror that he be showing us, they never like cease to amaze me or make me just feel like, oh my freaking god, you know what I'm saying, what the is going on type of video. I never lose that reaction, that feeling to it, man. And these right here, dude, let's just run them down real quick, my brothers and sisters. Let's run them down. The first one, we started off crazy. The man was going 100 and some freaking miles per hour. Imagine somebody 100, not 60, 70, 80 in a residential zone or through the, you know, streets of the city or whatever, but 124 when they did crash. It's like, dude, that is so crazy, man. And like Ryan said too, man, yeah, it is. I hate to say good, but it is good. They lost their life, but it's good that nobody else lost their life, because he could have potentially ran into a car with kids in it, a family, and everybody would have been dead. This man was going 120 some miles per hour, and he was told, he was warned, and we saw them in the freaking car just 13 minutes before by the police telling him, hey man, calm down, go home, do this, do that. He got tickets for it and all, and he went right back on the goddamn road and did that shit. Then you look at the car and you just can imagine how you see how the car just literally cut in half. Imagine how they body looked. I'm gonna leave it alone, my brothers and sisters. We're gonna leave that one alone, man. Hell no. What was the one after that, y'all? The one after that, man. Let me see real quick, y'all. These goddamn videos, man, listen, y'all. This was crazy by Ryan. The second one, man, that we watched, Mario, rest in peace to him. He went out on a whim doing something. His parents didn't even know it. He went skydiving. Like I keep saying, it's not my cup of tea at all, but it different stroke for different folks. And his very freaking first time doing this, the ultimate type of tragedy that can happen to him and the dude. And it's just so crazy how the dude was joking about the junk, and then it ended up happening. And it'll remind me of that Tyler story that now I remember since Ryan brought it up, that he told a while ago, man. It's the same type of thing. He is so eerie, and like I said, going skydiving, man, you never know, man. It's always gonna happen at some point. At some point, somewhere out there on this earth, in this universe that we live in, my brothers and sisters, somebody gonna be flying through the freaking air skydiving, and they gonna pull that goddamn cord, and it's not gonna work. And you never know when it's gonna happen or who it's gonna happen to. So just rest in peace to those two, man. The third one, Let me make sure this is the third one. Let me make sure, y'all. I want to talk about them in order. The third one, man. Yup, it is it. The third one, man. The dude who just fell off the cliff, man, on his motorcycle. Like I said, y'all, it would be one thing if he was actually riding and something happened. He hit a bump in the road or a fucking rock or something. Then the tire flipped and he fell off the damn cliff like that. But he was getting off the motorbike to do whatever, and he just slipped. Soon as he put his foot down, it just slipped, and before you know it, he tumbling over the freaking cliff. Rest in peace to him too, man. God damn, y'all, these clips before horror just be crazy. The fourth one that we watched, which really was number 2, is I think her name was Anna or Emma. She got tricked into doing this hand gliding, or is it hand gliding, tomato. She got up there with a dude who didn't even have no experience in it, but she thinking that he do got experience, but come to find out all he is about the money. So now he putting not only his life in danger, he putting her life in danger too, man. I'm pretty sure if she knew that he really ain't have no experience, she would have never did that shit with him. And watching that clip, the clip of when it started spiraling out of control and just went to the ground, you just feel so helpless, man. Like there is nothing I can do in this moment to save them. Freaking absolutely terrible, y'all. I'm telling you, Ryan, you was cooking on this one. This was a great one, man. And the last one, last but not least, no pun intended, no joking or nothing, man. I swear, y'all, that looked like a Final Destination movie. You know what it reminded me of when we seen that clip of those people falling? And it was, I'm not gonna even go into detail. Like I said earlier, I ain't gonna go into no detail about none of this stuff. I don't know how hard you two listening to me. For real, man. But it reminded me of Final Destination, y'all. It reminded me of like the roller coaster scene. It reminded me of all the scenes when the which one was this? Final Destination 4, when they had the scene of, I know that was Final Destination 3. I think Final Destination 4 was the scene of the NASCAR. It wasn't called NASCAR, but it was the racetrack one. It reminded me of the second Final Destination one, or what happened at the beginning with the highway crash. Like, it was one of those type of moments, man. What happened to them? Just the visual of it, man. Just rest in peace to them, y'all. And you gotta just imagine how many people it was packed up in that motherfucker, where they actually loosened up the guardrail till it actually gave way, and them people fell to their freaking death. But I digress, my brothers and sisters. I'm gonna let y'all go now, man. Like I said, this was a great one from Ryan, y'all. It is always a pleasure to come back to Ryan, y'all. I gotta give him his props. I can't wait till he release another one, man. I appreciate y'all coming on back as always. Before y'all leave, please, 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 please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And you know you got to come back tomorrow, because we're going back to who? Mike from that chapter. But until then, my friends, I also need y'all to remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.